Northwest Side, Norwood Park, Resurrection High School. I have 7 brothers, I have 2 sisters, so I know that every kid growing up in Chicago dreams of playing for a hometown team like the Blackhawks, the Bears, the Bulls, the Cubs, or the White Sox. Very few are able to actually live out these childhood dreams, but the Blackhawks have a handful of Chicago guys that are able to do just that, and they even have a couple of adopted sons. When we get into the panel, if you have questions, you can go to your left side of the room and they will write down your questions for our panelists. In the meantime, I have to put my glasses on. As we welcome some of Chicago's favorite sons and the adopted ones, he signed with the Blackhawks as a free agent in 2014, posted a 3-1 record in 5 2015 Stanley Cup playoff games en route to his first career cup. He set an NHL postseason record for the longest scoreless relief outing, 42 saves in 67 minutes, 44 seconds on the ice. Please join me in welcoming from Lamont, Illinois, Scott Darling. This next Blackhawk was a first-round pick, 30th overall in the 2013 NHL Draft. He had 1 assist in 3 games with the Blackhawks last season, making his NHL debut in 2014-15. He appeared in 5 games with the Blackhawks, recorded 35 points in 61 games with Rockford. Please join me in welcoming from West Dundee, Ryan Hartman. This Blackhawk is Chicago's 6th round pick in the 2012 NHL Draft. He made his NHL debut last season, appearing in 7 games with the Blackhawks. He led the team with 51 points in 66 games at Rockford, and he played for Notre Dame. From Bartlett, Illinois, Vinny Hinostroza. I'm not sure how this guy got onto a Chicago panel. He won the 2010 Stanley Cup with the Blackhawks, registering 60 points in 378 career regular season games, 5 points in 38 Stanley Cup playoff games in 2009 and 2010. We're not going to mention he played with Dallas and San Jose. From Madison, Wisconsin, one of our favorite sons, adopted Adam Burish. This Blackhawk won the Lady Byng Trophy in 2011-2012. He registered 117 points in 215 games with the Blackhawks, winning the 2010 Stanley Cup by setting up Patrick Kane for the game winner in overtime. He originally signed in 2008, and he is back, an adopted favorite son. Welcome, Brian Campbell. So what does it mean to play in this grand city of Chicago? Let's take a look at the video screen and show you what it's all about. So playing in Chicago is pretty special, you guys. What exactly does it mean to play for your hometown, Scott Darling?
You really can't put it into words. It's a huge honor. I've been a Hawks fan since the day I was born, and I'm pretty excited still every day when I go to the rink and get to wear a Blackhawks jersey.
Who was your favorite player growing up?
Ed Belfour.
Wow, Eddie the Eagle. All right, Vinny, coming from Bartlett, you're still living the dream. This is still early on in your career. What has this ride been like for you?
Oh, it's been amazing. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, every kid I think in Chicago that plays hockey, their dreams to put the Blackhawks sweater on, and all of us up here, we know it's a privilege to throw it on, and we love doing it. So it's great. It's a great opportunity, and we're all excited.
Okay, so tell us the truth. Who was the first teammate you saw that you actually really admired growing up when you walked into that dressing room?
I was still in high school when Taze and Cade came to the team, so it was cool going to the locker room, seeing those guys, not from a fan's aspect, but as a teammate, so that was really cool this year.
All right, Ryan, coming from West Dundee, isn't that where Santa's Village is?
Yeah, that's where I started playing, actually, yeah.
Did you grow up going to Santa's Village?
Not the amusement park, but like I said, I started skating there, and that's where I first started skating, so yeah.
I remember that rink there. So what has this been like for you to put on the Indian Head sweater?
You know, it's awesome. I remember 2010, you know, I was a freshman in high school, and from a fan standpoint, I was came to the parade and, you know, rushed down and, you know, was one of the fans in out there in the streets. And
You came to the parade
Yeah.
as a fan in the streets.
yeah, oh yeah. And then
Were you climbing on one of the light poles
no,
or
I didn't, I
something?
wasn't
That's
that
where we
crazy,
found him.
no.
That's where they found him.
Yeah. And then being able to be on one of the buses in 2015, part of the parade, was being on the other side of it was pretty cool. Definitely a dream come true, and hopefully more of those to come.
Okay, Adam Burish. I have been in Chicago covering sports for 25 years, and this is the first time we have allowed a cheesehead on a Chicago panel. How the heck did you end up on a Chicago panel? But you're probably more Chicago than a lot of guys.
Yeah, I snuck in here. I didn't think you were going to blow it for me here, but
What is it like? I mean, you were such a fan favorite on this team when you played. You really kind of epitomized what it's like to be a blue-collar worker in Chicago. How was it for you to really get into that feeling of being a Chicagoan?
yeah, well, I grew up just 2 hours away in Madison. It's a quick drive, so I guess I'll blow it again a little bit here. Growing up, I didn't really ever care about playing in the NHL. It was never really a thought of mine. When I watched, though, I watched the Blackhawks. I had the starter jacket as a kid. You know, I had a Jeremy Roenick poster in my room. And so growing up, I liked the Wisconsin Badgers. And then, you know, then I went to college there. That was my dream. And then I get drafted by Chicago, which I thought was a joke. I didn't think I was good enough to play in the NHL. It was just kind of cool, I thought. And then next thing you know, I'm playing for the Blackhawks. And Chicago kind of became home. I loved it here, and now to be able to come back and, you know, be fans of these guys now and watch these guys, and it's a special place, and it'll always be a special place for me.
Coming from Madison, were you a Gary Suter fan too?
Yeah, I was a Suter fan too, and a Chelios fan. They're Badgers too. So there's been a lot of Badgers be Blackhawks too. So there's a little connection there. So maybe that's how I got in here.
Exactly. And Brian Campbell, welcome back to Chicago.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Brian's not from Chicago.
No.
But his wife is,
Correct.
right? The boss in the house, right?
Correct.
Yes. You can be nice, but what is it like your in-laws? Like, how would you describe Chicagoans now that you're married to a Chicagoan and your in-laws are Chicago people? How would you describe that?
Well, it's
Like I said, I think Lauren's backstage.
yeah. Lawrence and the kids are here, but for me, I think it's all about the Midwest and You know, I've lived in Boca Raton for a few years, and that's a lot of people from the East Coast in New York. And when you come home to the Midwest in the summertime here, and everybody knows how great Midwest people are and how kind, and you know, it's kind of just a warm kind of feels like every day's kind of like a holiday season. You know, it's people are so kind. So I think you know, I'm lucky to live in the Midwest and be around such great people every single day.
Have you learned how to pronounce Chicago the Chicago way?
No, I have not.
Scott, can you tell them how to pronounce Chicago the Chicago way?
I was just going to say, I'm from here, and I don't know if there's like a Chicago way to say Chicago.
Chicago.
Okay.
I don't say it like that.
All right, I think we need to give these guys a little bit of a Chicago quiz and just see how Chicago they really are, okay? All right. Well, I'll start with Brian. Is your wife a North Sider or a South Sider?
South Sider.
Adam, what's the difference between a North Sider and a South Sider? You can pass it off if you need
The
to.
North Siders, they're like the rich kids, aren't they?
Okay, Ryan, if you're from the North Side, what baseball team do you root for?
Obviously the Cubs.
Okay. And Vinny, if you're from the South Side, what baseball team do you root for?
The Sox, but go Cubs.
Oh! Okay, Scott, the tallest building in Chicago is what?
Sears Tower.
Now, that is, he gets extra points for calling it the Sears Tower.
Yeah, I can't call it the Willis Tower.
Exactly. Okay, Brian. Oh, he's looking at me like, why
I'm
are you
scared.
doing this?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre?
Yeah.
Okay. Al Capone?
Yes.
Okay, all right. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre occurred in a very trendy Chicago neighborhood, this bloody shootout with an Irish gang. I'm sure when you were younger and single and frequently some of the establishments in this neighborhood, you might know which neighborhood did it occur in.
Wow. I might be stumped here. Do you know? Adam?
Anyone know?
I can't help you.
I don't know. Yeah.
I have no idea either.
Lincoln
Okay.
Park.
I don't feel bad now.
All right, Lincoln Park. That might have been too hard. Lincoln Park. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go to Ryan. How do you pronounce the state that Chicago is in?
Illinois?
Very good. No S on the end, right?
Of course not.
Of course not. No S. Vinny, name a coach that has won a championship in Chicago.
Joel Quinville.
Oh, that was too easy. All right. Scott, name another one.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Mike Ditka.
Pass.
Ozzy.
Ozzie Guillen, very good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Do you have another one, Adam?
Yeah, Mike Ditka.
Mike Ditka, very good. There's still another one sitting there. Do you know, Ryan?
I know what team it's for, but I don't know the name of the coach.
I got
What-
it.
There's a couple, actually.
Phil Jackson.
Very good, Adam.
That's the one that I was waiting.
Oh. Scott said that's the one you were thinking
Yeah.
of? Yeah, okay. We got you. All right, Scott, I'm going to give you another one. What are the 2 seasons in Chicago? There's only 2 seasons in Chicago.
Summer and winter. That's about it.
Winter is one. Construction. Okay. Vinny, there's this big body of water downtown Chicago, and outsiders that come here think that it's an ocean. What is that body of water in Chicago?
It's not an ocean? Lake Michigan?
Yes. Okay. Adam, what goes on a Chicago-style hot dog?
I screwed up. No ketchup, but I love
Right.
right? No ketchup. I know that. And I like the hot peppers.
You could do peppers, yep.
Tomatoes?
Okay.
Yeah, come on, Peggy.
All right.
Pickles,
Yeah.
onions,
Yes.
mustard.
Yes. Relish. Well, he's
Celery salt.
celery salt. Very good. Wow. And relish. Okay. What is Chicago-style pizza, Brian?
Chicago-style pizza is a deep dish.
Very good. Do you have a favorite?
I'd have to ask my wife that question. She orders all the food. Giordano's probably.
Giordano's. Okay, there you go. All right, Scott. You're like sweating this out, aren't you?
Oh, now I'm getting nervous.
Okay, all right. You know you're from Chicago when you can recite the phone number to Empire Carpet. Right? All right, what is the phone number to Empire Carpet?
I got this
You're
one.
too young for that.
You
one.
do?
Yeah.
Ryan knows this one.
588-2300.
Empire. Very good.
Thank you.
A lot of TV watching for me.
Let's see, what else? All right, Adam. Chicago has a very unique, I don't even know what you would call it, a way of saving their parking spaces in the winter. In Chicago, how do Chicagoans save their parking spaces in the winter? Who are you looking at for
I'm looking
answers?
at my lifeline, and she's not looking at me right now. Come on. They put a chair. They put a chair in their stall.
I didn't know that.
You put your furniture out to hold your spot. All right, right? Okay, Vinny, how many different area codes, phone numbers in Chicago? Can you name them?
630
Yep,
847
Yep.
312.
yep.
331 708 331
708, very good.
234 224. I just know 312 630 and 847.
773. There we go. Okay, what else? Hey, Brian, what's the L?
A train.
Very good. Why is it called the L?
Is it just because I know it's above ground, obviously, so that's the reason.
Elevated.
Elevator.
Very good.
Okay, got it.
All right.
Short forms.
Adam, who are Chicagoans' two favorite football teams?
The Green Bay Packers? Sorry. The Bears?
That's one. Everyone together. And anyone that beats the Packers.
Anyone that beats the Packers. Which the Bears don't do very often.
Okay, if you guys have some questions, that side of the room, get your questions in and we can start asking them. We're going to continue. Scott, what's been, obviously, I mean, you had your marathon appearance in goal, but what has been the highlight for you putting on that Indian head sweater?
I mean, other than winning the Stanley Cup in 2015, that was bar none the best experience of my life. But just the whole experience, you know, being from here and having my family come to every game, every home game, and kind of, you know, getting the Blackhawks experience. People I went to school with growing up, you know, seeing them at games, and I think that's probably the coolest part about it.
Like being the grand marshal of the Lamont Parade and stuff like that?
Yeah, they let me back now. They used to not want me to be back, but now they want me back. So.
Adam, what about you? Looking back now in your years with the Blackhawks, what was, I mean, we can talk about the wins and the cups and things like that, but what for you made it so special in that dressing room? Because you were one of those special guys.
It was just close. The guys were close. Guys got along. I did a thing yesterday, and we were just kind of young. We all came up together. So it was a group that we were all young. We were dumb. We were having fun. We were kind of ignorant to the idea that we were in the NHL, and we had fun every day. And Brian was there, and it never felt like it was work. It was fun. It was natural. Nothing was fake. It was just we were having fun, and we were blind to everything else that was going on, and we'd show up, and these crazy fans would yell and scream, and we'd try and put a show on for them, and it just made it exciting every day. And all of a sudden, the building explodes, and people around town are going crazy for the Blackhawks, and we were fortunate. We were lucky. At least I was very fortunate to be a part of it. And I always say I got lucky. I tricked them to be able to be a Blackhawk as long as I was, and I was fortunate.
Brian, you played with Adam. Not only was he known as a very gritty player, but he was a funny guy. Came up with some of the best lines we may have ever been able to and not able to repeat on the ice, in the dressing room. Tell us one of those stories about Adam Burish.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Be nice.
Yeah, we all keep it because I don't want the question coming back. If this is the end of the segment, okay, but I don't want anything coming back. I think the best thing about Adam was, it wasn't just calling one guy. It was calling 10, 15, 20 guys saying, hey, what are we doing tonight or stuff. It was inclusion, and I think that was the best part about this team. And we tried to include, everybody was included, and nobody was kind of left behind. And, we put ourselves out in the mix with all the fans, which was the best part about it.
Vinny, growing up here, what was it like playing hockey here as a kid growing up? And, what level did you start at in the Chicago suburbs? And who were some of the coaches that really kept you going?
Yeah, I think growing up, every year you saw hockey grow and grow. More kids were playing. Played with Hartsey. We played pretty much probably 7 years together before we went and played junior, so that was pretty cool. We had a lot of great coaches. We played at Chicago Mission, Anders Sorensen, Peter Tilly. Those are two main guys that coached us through all those main years where we really developed. So yeah, it's fun to see now how many kids are playing. It's crazy how it grows every single year, and it's awesome.
Ryan, you mentioned, did you say you had a trophy or a poster of JR on your wall growing up? Yeah.
Yeah, Adam said that.
I did, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Come on. No, you didn't. You did?
I did, yeah.
You had a poster of Jeremy Roenick?
Yeah, and a starter jacket. Remember the starter jackets?
Yeah, I
Kids
remember
don't
the
know what
starter
those are anymore.
jackets.
Yeah, I had the red starter jacket, yeah.
So once you got to Chicago then, the whole history of the guys that came before you, what was that like, having not only that responsibility, but carrying on the tradition? Everyone from the Stan Mikitas and the Bobby Hulls to the Chris Chelioses and the Jeremy Roenicks and all the guys in between.
Yeah, once those guys started coming around a lot, Brian probably remembers too, they had some ceremonies for those guys, and it kind of added to a little bit of pressure. I grew up watching Denny Savard, and I knew the Spinoramas, and to see him around and to develop a relationship with him and with Bobby Hull and seeing these guys around, it kind of added to the aura of the Blackhawks, and he felt like he had to live up to their expectations and the stuff that they had done, and then you get to call them friends. It was pretty neat, and then they're around so much, and they tell their stories, and it made you feel like you had to live up to the expectations and the standards that they had set.